guests with us this evening. I'm Rhonda Schuhler, Superintendent of Franklin County Schools. And I know it's been a long day for everyone, but I'm really excited to be with you this evening to share a state of the district, the work that is taking place and has been taking place in Franklin County Schools. So thank you for having me this evening. Before I get started, I would like to say we have our board with us. If our board members will stand, I didn't tell them I was going to do that, but our board members with us. And we have central office leadership, if they'll stand. And then we also have principals and a few assistant principals. If our principals would stand, please. And our assistant principals here. So I wanted to recognize them because I am here to present, but I am certainly not alone in making this work happen. We have over 1,000 employees who show up each and every day for our students and make a real difference. So I do want to recognize the folks who are with us this evening on behalf of that 1,000 back at our schools. So I'm going to give you kind of a broad overview of the work of the district. Certainly, we can answer any questions that you have, dig into this more if there's anything that's of interest to you, but this is kind of a broad perspective on the work that's taking place in Franklin County Schools. I will say this, I have a cold, so I have a cough drop handy and a bottle of water. Just if I have a coughing moment, I may have to take advantage of that. All right, so Franklin County Schools is committed to serving our community by providing a comprehensive, high-quality public education to every child in our care, every child who comes through our doors. This commitment follows our students throughout their educational journey, and it continues well beyond high school. That is our commitment. Our Board of Education, I've already introduced them, and here's a reflection of a snapshot of our schools and our school leaders. We do have 16 schools that serve a little over 8,000 students in Franklin County. So, I've shared with you kind of our broader vision, and we actually have a strategic plan that addresses that. We know that it takes specific planning to put those ideas into action on a day-to-day basis. And in fall of 2019, we had a cross-section of stakeholders from school, community, business, parents convened, and we developed what we've called the Blueprint 2025, and that is our strategic plan. The work took place throughout the 2019-2020 school year, and the plan was approved for implementation beginning in fall of 2020. The committee developed a vision and a mission and goals for that work. This is our vision, and that is to build a stronger community, one lifelong learner at a time. And our mission is that Franklin County Schools will cultivate a dynamic learning environment focused on success beyond the classroom, preparing, inspiring, and illuminating the path so that all students will reach their full potential. And our goals, our work is divided into 4 goals, and those are common threads throughout all of our discussion about progress that we make as a district and the work that's taking place. Those goals are, first of all, making sure that all of our students graduate prepared for college, career, and life beyond the classroom. And that can look different for each student, so recognizing that. Goal 2, Franklin County School students will demonstrate proficiency in 4 academic areas. We know that that's important, that they're prepared academically for success. To accomplish that, we need to make sure that we're providing a safe, orderly, and caring environment for our students that is conducive to learning. They can't learn if they don't feel safe. We're here in a safe place. And then goal 4 is to make all of that happen, and I already alluded to this earlier, it takes good staff who are committed to work with those students each and every day. And to make that happen, we will actively recruit, retain, and support high-quality staff. So I wanted to, this is teeny tiny, I know you can't see it, but those of you who are looking at the screen. But I will say, I just wanted to show you one of the things we're committed to in the strategic plan process, and when we do our work next year planning for a new strategic plan cycle, is we don't want this to be a notebook that's put on a shelf or something that's stored on the computer and not revisited. So we meet multiple times annually, and where you see green, yellow, red, that's where we're looking at specific strategies, getting feedback from our strategic planning committee, making adjustments, looking at where we've been successful and where we may need to back up and refine. So that is important because that's really where the rubber meets the road in terms of the work. Goal 1, as I mentioned, this is about graduating, having students graduate prepared for college, career, and life beyond the classroom. Here's a snapshot of some of the statistics on our students from last year, the class of 2023. We graduated 588 students. We had 105 joining the workforce, 232 joining the military, 173 going to university, 19 joining the armed forces, and we had over $13 million in scholarships received by our students. A couple of success stories in our district. You know, one of the things that we're working to build upon is the idea of families having some choice in the learning opportunities for their students. And one of those areas, and our earliest opportunity for this, which has been in place for over 10 years now, is our early college high school. And this early college high school has demonstrated success in preparing students for college and career. Last year's graduation rate for early college was over 97%. 90% of the graduates completed an associate's degree through the program free of charge, graduated with that associate's degree. And with your help, we were able to relocate that program out of the mobile unit that it was based in into Building 5 at Advanced Granville Community College. Currently, our enrollment is at 187. Our goal is to grow the program to 300 students. Lewisburg Magnet High School. We started an actual Lewisburg High School program it was our STEM Academy, and we started small with that and had a cohort of students who moved through the STEM Academy, which is a program focused on science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And the first group graduated, that first cohort at Lewisburg High School, 100% of those students graduated. So it was very successful. Here's a little listing of some of the opportunities that students had and have through that program. It's very practical, hands-on experiences with STEM and also service learning in our community so that students are well-rounded. This was such a successful program that in fall of 2022, the Board of Education approved a plan to shift Lewisburg High School to a magnet school, school-wide, serving all interested and eligible Franklin County students. We do provide transportation for this program. We have a satellite bus system for this that will allow for that, and we piggyback off of the system we have in place for our early college. 35 students transferred to Lewisburg Magnet High School from other schools this year. Those students participate in pathways, either career and college pathway, a STEM-focused program in partnership with Advanced Granville or Advanced Placement. STEM-focused pathways lead to certification in areas such as biotechnology and cybersecurity. So we're excited to continue to build on that program. A brand new, hot off the press, brand new program that will be implemented next year is a dual language immersion program at Royal Elementary School. This will be the first program of its kind in Franklin County. These programs are proven programs that have been very successful in other districts. And what happens is students in kindergarten and first grade, and they matriculate their way up through school, being taught in Spanish, and there's Spanish instruction as well as working with students on English language skills. And by second grade, students are fluently speaking in Spanish and English and completing work in Spanish as well as English. So it's a great program. We're really excited. There seems to be a lot of interest. We're advertising it right now, but we had an interest session a few weeks back, and the person who works with Participate, which is the organization that provides the international teachers and the program, said this was one of the largest parent turnouts that they've had at this kind of event. So we're really excited about that. In terms of career and college readiness, we have at all of our high schools, career and technical education programs. I'll show you a couple of examples of that. Last year, our students earned 3,625 credentials in career and technical education. For this, many of our students are able to jump right into the workforce, and they have a leg up on some of the non-public schools that aren't able to offer the robust opportunities in career and technical education. These programs we work to market and highlight, and we're working to increase our connections with our business community and meet their needs and provide students with practical and hands-on learning opportunities. We also offer advanced placement courses and career and college promise courses, which allow students to receive in partnership with Vance Granville college credit for free in high school. So we really work to encourage students to maximize their participation in this opportunity. This is another one that's hard to see, but I did want to mention this because this is something we're very committed to, and it is creating a level of consistency in what we offer students in career and technical education, career exposure that extends beyond career and technical education, and it's our career development continuum that is being implemented beginning this year, and it begins in 5th grade and works all the way through high school with each year specific expectations for what students will receive. Beginning in 5th grade, because we want them to have exposure and see what they're interested in and start to kind of channel that even as early as 5th grade. Here's a listing of our CTE programs. Bud High School, you can see that list. One of the things I often see is, you'll see people say, well, I wish that schools would get back to offering some of those courses they offered when I was at school, career and technical education. Well, we offer those. I think sometimes that message gets lost, but if you look, we have a pretty robust listing of things that are of interest to students, whether it's something like with technology like Adobe, visual design, digital work, business management, construction and carpentry, firefighter technology, foods and nutrition, nursing fundamentals. I won't read all of this, you can read that list, but at each of our high schools, we offer those kinds of opportunities, practical opportunities for students to learn and gain credentials and skills. All right, and then we also work with our students on job shadowing, internships, and apprenticeships. And this is something that we want to continue to work towards and build on. Ms. Denton mentioned last week in her goal setting, I think, with you all, she talked about My Future NC, and that's an area where we're working collaboratively with the county and with our economic development community work to continue to look at the opportunities, the needs in our community, and work to fulfill those needs. We also, this is another thing that you often hear, is we need to get back to teaching students about managing their finances, financial literacy. We actually have State Employees Credit Union is working with us, and we're doing reality of money simulation fairs at each of our high schools. These are, I don't know how many of you participated in those. They're just a really practical opportunity for students to understand the value of money and the kinds of decisions and choices you have to make based on the job that you have, the money that you make, and it's just a really practical experience. We're always looking for volunteers, so if any of you want to help with that, let us know. We'd be glad to take you up on that help. But that's something that we're offering for all of our schools, and it is part of our career development continuum. We also are doing, we're doing that with each of our high school. All 12th grade students are getting that. So all 12th graders will do that. We're also doing something with our 8th graders as well, with financial literacy and reality of money. Summer camps. One of the things we did last year that was really successful that we're going to build on is offering some practical summer camp opportunities for students. Last year we did something in agriculture. Students get some hands-on opportunities to go to summer camp and learn more about agriculture. We're doing carpentry. Auto mechanics, which I think I might try to slip in on that session this summer. I could benefit from that. But automotive, culinary, and we want to continue to build on those opportunities. We also have something that's called Summer Teamship, which is a nationally renowned opportunity for students to have practical connections with business to solve a problem of practice. And that's something our students have been really excited about. It's also something that looks great on that college application for our students. Here's some pictures from summer camp. We also are placing a renewed focus. It's something that's always been focused, but we're doing something more consistently around character education. We feel like it's a good opportunity to just revisit in a more structured way. We have monthly character traits that we're pushing in our schools for students to exhibit, talking about those. And then you'll see some pictures where we're recognizing a different character trait each month so that that we can really showcase not just the academics, because we know that for students to be successful beyond the classroom, it's about more than just academics. Extracurricular activities, you can see some photos there. We have, of course, band, chorus, all kinds of sports and theater. The next area of focus is preparing students, demonstrating proficiency in core academic areas. And here's just a few bright spots in our data that I wanted to share. So out of over 2,500 schools in the state, five of our schools were in the top 15% in terms of growth last year. Lewisburg Magnet High School was in the top 2%. Top 7%, Franklinton High School, Royal, top 7%, Longville, top 14%, and Early College, top 15%. We had 88% of our schools met or exceeded their growth expectations. So the state predicts how much growth students should make in a year. They met that growth goal or exceeded that growth goal. We outperformed the state average in science in 5th grade. We had Early College received an A rating for, it's been a number of years now that they've had that A. Lewisburg Magnet High School received a B rating. Youngsville Elementary School received a B rating. With the difficult accountability model from the state, which is something I won't spend a lot of time on tonight, but I'm glad to talk to you more about. Let me look at my notes here. The Early College is 10th overall out of 156 schools in the North Central region, a percentage of students attaining ACT composite score of 19 or higher. Our graduation rate increased by 3% last year. And this was something I was really excited about. So Math 1, which is the equivalent of what we would have taken in school, might have been Algebra 1. We had the highest scores in the region, the large North Central region, and even outperforming Chapel Hill Barbaro in Math 1 scores. So we're very pleased with that. Here's a breakdown, and I won't spend a lot of time on these, but you have these to dig into. I've highlighted Franklin County and where we fall in our kind of immediate region. And what you'll find is that in most cases, we're in the top 3, Johnston and Wake and Franklin. For elementary, reading, math, and science, you can see where we fall there. We're actually second in math to Wake County in the region. Middle school regional progress. Middle school is our biggest area of challenge that we're working, putting strategies in place for. But middle school, we still rank in that top kind of realm. And Franklin, of course, I said was in the top in terms of performance for Math 1. High school regional comparison, we're in the, we're right behind Wake County in Math 3 scores, and then the other areas outside of Math 1 where we're first, we're third. And then high school graduation rate, we're in the middle on that. That's something that we continue to work on is what are the strategies to engage students and keep them engaged all the way from high school. And this is overall proficiency and where we fell. And like I said, ranking of the third in that breakdown. This graphic has a lot going on, and I just want to, this is something I wanted to mention because I think it's something you can dig into, and certainly reach out to me with questions, or if you have questions tonight. It has a lot of information in it. It includes, for Franklin County schools, the performance grade by the state, the performance score, and then whether the school met or exceeded or did not meet growth. So the state says this is how much students should grow in a year. They meet it, they exceed it, or make more than a year's worth of growth, or they don't meet that. So you will see a breakdown, and this isn't kind of an unusual way to look at the data, but what I've done here is I've given you a rank order economically disadvantaged breakdown, just so you have a sense of the students and their socioeconomics and how that all relates to this. It doesn't mean that our students who are financially or socioeconomically more disadvantaged can't learn. We believe every student can learn, and we just have to make sure that we're putting strategies in place to help them be successful. As I mentioned earlier, the overwhelming majority of our schools met or exceeded growth. I did include the charters that are based in Franklin County, just so that you have that information, and you can see their socioeconomic percent of economically disadvantaged, which is that first column, their letter grade, as well as their growth, whether they met or exceeded or did not meet growth. So a lot of information in that graphic. Yes, ma'am. Sure.
So the school performance grade is just for the economically disadvantaged?
No, it's every school gets that in the state. It's a letter grade.
These letter grades aren't too high.
No, and that's why the state, that's why I talked about the accountability model. I mean, when you look at our performance and rank in the county, we still struggle with that. One of the issues with the accountability model is it is weighted 80% proficiency, 20% growth, and so there's not a, schools that are achieving with their student population more than a year's worth of growth or more, that doesn't reflect in the way that you would code in the accountability model. So, yeah, the score, it is a difficult thing for a school now based on the accountability model. When you see that A and B performance, that's an outlier across the state because it is very challenging based on the state's accountability model to perform there. And I'm glad to sit down with you and go through all of that and talk to you about the accountability model and look at our data.
Okay, because I'm confused that we have high ranking, and we've gone through all the high ranking of our schools and our math and all that stuff. Then we come over here and it says school performance grade is a D.
Yes, that's why if you look at the other counties on that list where we rank higher than them, you're gonna see lower scores than that. That's what that means. You're gonna see lower scores in those other counties.
So when will those scores increase? How will they increase?
That's what we're working hard to do. I mean, the accountability model itself is very challenging to perform at those levels, to be an A or a B school. Our schools that have done that, it's a phenomenal accomplishment. We're putting strategy, and it's something that when we have students that maybe don't always have the support system at home to help them along. We're working to make sure we're putting strategies in place for those students to be successful, and it's hard work.
So how does that coincide again? The low grades here and then the higher reports of like in math scores and things like that?
It means that relative to the way the rest of the state's doing, that's where the rest of the state's performing as well. So if you say Franklin County Schools is ranked third, or right behind Wade and Johnson, and all these other districts are performing below that, that means that their letter grades look comparable and lower than these. That's just the way that the accountability model is designed.
Well, then our letter grades need to either change or go up.
I think that's a conversation that we've had with the model itself.
It makes us look terrible.
I agree. That's a conversation for the legislature. I agree with that. I've been vocal about that, so I agree. I know that's a lot. I just wanted, because I feel like that's information that you deserve to have, and I think it's good for you to know.
I have a question, I'm sorry,
Sure.
before you go on, because that's really good to understand this.
Yeah.
So on the percentage EDS, that's the economic disadvantage, what's that?
That's the economically disadvantaged students. So like when you're looking at that, 84.7% of Lewisburg elementary schools were economically disadvantaged. And then if you look at the bottom of that, Wakecraft is 16.6%.
Well, I was noticing like the early college is something, I won't say it's an example, but it stands out to me because the A is in the next column. And you see it's 43.2, it has the A, and then the performances there are 97, 91, 88, which.
And it looks a little, the model is different from elementary to middle to high school too. So there are more indicators at the high school level. And I think another thing to consider with early college, it is a program that you apply or you take a specific initiative to apply for that program and be a part of that. So there's a different kind of thought process going in versus just, you know.
So I have to throw this out there only because I'm so proud of being a graduate of Bone High School and that old building and how great of a grade that we could make. And here's students coming into construction trailers basically. And I'm not downgrading what they are, but you know what I mean. It's not brick and mortar. They don't have athletics. They don't have a gymnasium. They don't have band. They don't have all these things. And look how wonderful they can perform. I mean, that's just.
The early college?
Yeah, the early college. I mean, that just, I don't know, that just is amazing to me, but it also goes back to being prideful about going to school at Bun, and I remember that old administration building floor squeaking at 20-foot high ceilings and learning physics off the top of the building, Mr. Stevenson, and while we stood in the yard, the priceless opportunities to learn, so anyway, I'm excited about
Well,
it.
and I think one thing that is great about early college too is it's that small school environment, so we do want to grow the program, but we don't want to grow.
It's a lot more attainable in smaller settings.
It is.
I do want to ask, just so I can be sure I understand, when you go back to like the elementary school regional comparison, you got these numbers. Are these numbers percentages?
Yes.
So this is saying, I'm just going to go to the first slide, I believe it's the first slide you had, yeah. The very first one, reading grade 3, and it shows Wake at 58.4, Johnson 51.4, and then Franklin 42.7. That's 42.7% what?
Proficient, based on the state model.
Proficient meaning what? These students take a test?
They take a
like
test.
an EOG,
EOG.
and they get a 42 out of 100. Average is the average.
No, it's the percent that meet the threshold for passing that, or getting a 3 or higher on that
A
test.
3 or higher.
Yeah.
And what is a 3 equivalent to in a percentage?
It varies. It depends, and they re-norm it, so it's not a.
So what's an example then? I mean, just give me some example. I mean, what is, I'm just trying to understand how it's 42.
Think of it as.
I remember 1, 2, 3, my kids were in school,
But
when
think
they
about
come
it in
on 4s, we
terms of
celebrated ice
100
cream, right?
Yeah.
Because that was top dog, was
Yeah.
number 4.
It is, I don't know how to give it I'm looking at our chief.
Well, I thought he was talking about 42%. I mean,
Yeah.
what that means is 42 out of every 100 kids
Yeah.
score level 3 or 4 in Franklin. And then you look at those two above us, if it's
Yeah.
55, it's 55.
Right, correct.
But-
I'm just I was more curious, leading into the curiosity, was the 3 out of 1 through 4. I know, I think it was number 1, you had to go back and test like the kids when my children were in school. You couldn't just walk away with that 1, you had to go back and do it again. Maybe it was a 2, I
Yeah.
don't recall.
I mean, we do have that gateway in 3rd grade, and we do retesting for the other
But you
grades.
can't tell me, you have no idea what the percentage is. If this is 4 out of 100, is it 25% each one? So if they're making 100 to 70,
Yeah, I don't know how to quantify that, Dr. Nichols.
Yeah,
can
So
speak to
those,
that.
so every year when the test is revised, it's usually on like a 4 or 5 year, schedule. The state does standard setting, and the state determines what the level is. So, for example, if there's 30 questions on a test, the state would say students that get 26 out of the 30 correct would be a 5. Students that get, but those numbers aren't really known to us. Those are standards that are set by the state.
I'm just trying to better understand
Yeah,
how I can
kind of
better be a
apply.
better steward of the information when you're out in the community and you talk about what Ms. Bragg just spoke about these letter grades, and I can go, well, wait a minute.
Yeah. Well, I think one thing to look at with that is when you look at the top performing district in the state performing at, for instance, you know, at the elementary level, when you're looking at the top, district in the state being at 58.4% in reading,
Is that the top, Wake is the top
that's-
for the whole state?
that is for the region.
For the
So
region.
for our immediate region, so you're not looking at a situation where when you were in school and you might have seen like 80s, 90s, that's not what this looks like statewide in terms of the data. It's just
Right,
not
we
the
went
way
away
the
from
model is set
that
up.
grading scale.
Well, and it's also just a very challenging accountability model, the one that we have right now. It does not, and there have been concerns that it doesn't apply to, like when you do a comparison of other states, if you were to lay our accountability model over that, our data would look, if you took another state's accountability model that looks like they're doing great,
Because you can't interpret it.
you lay there's similar metrics over ours, and ours would look a lot better. So that's the concern. So again, I know, I appreciate your questions. though.
Yeah, I just want to
do.
try and,
I
like, be a
do.
good
It's-
steward
it's-
of sharing it.
It's a complicated thing. I think that's why we end up looking at things like how we perform relative to other districts, because it is such an unusual, the way that the model is, set up poses a challenge.
I'm a little too proud to be Franklin County there, so when I see other counties around here below us, I'm like, yeah, because I'm too prideful that way. So,
Well, and that's why we're trying to, I think it's important for you to have a sense of comparison, especially when you don't have, things have changed in a way that's difficult to anchor it to something and have anything to compare it to. That's what that's about. I do think that this is good information to have. I do think it's also interesting to look at the economically disadvantaged breakdown within our county and some of our schools. And I think that's something to be aware of, so.
thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
How many counties are in our district?
What do you mean?
In their
In the region. So this
Our
isn't, I don't know, the entire North Central, I'm not sure. We look at the immediate, so the ones that are listed here are our neighbors and we compare ourselves.
So that's who we're comparing.
But it's a lot, but like when I said, Math 1 scores, that we were the highest in the region, that's the entire North Central region, which I think, do you know offhand?
It's either 15 or 16.
15 or 16 schools.
Surrounding us.
Yeah.
Counties.
Yeah, counties. All right, so shifting gears, we can't do the work that we do without creating an environment where students feel that they're safe and things are running smoothly and they're orderly, and it's an environment that's conducive to learning. And I know this is one of your goals as well. You all fine-tune this in terms of making sure facilities are set up for student success. So I wanted to give you an update on our enrollment data, just so that you have this, and I'm gonna break out my glasses here. So, this is actually our principal's monthly report for month 3. And when you compare that to where we were last year in month 3, our total membership last year in PMR 3 was at 7,755. This year it's at 7,890. That's not including pre-K, and it's up 135 students. So when you actually include our pre-K, our enrollment is at 8,025, and our prediction when we did the budget work last spring was that we would be at 7,932. So we've actually exceeded our projected enrollment. We were estimating on that last year, as best we could, an educated guess on that, and we were close. We were at 93 students. We've exceeded that projected enrollment by 93 students. So our numbers are trending upward in terms of enrollment. In terms of our facilities, I know we talked about some of this when we met in September, but we have reviewed our assessment findings and consolidated, prioritized, and finalized list of facility needs, both short and long term. So we're juggling what is the immediate for our facilities and what are we thinking and know that we want to do long term. We shared those with you at the joint meeting on September 19th at Carroll Lane. Each of you got a notebook for your use for that. Long-range needs for a total of $98 million over the next 10 years. And of that, 45 million of that would represent the cost of a replacement school for Franklinton Elementary. We've applied for a grant for that. If we don't get it this round, we'll apply again. We're gonna keep plugging away at that. 53 million represents the long-range facility needs across Franklin County schools. As a reminder, our Board of Education met numerous, I think 7 different times, and worked through our facilities plan to prioritize that and pare that down where we could, and we ended up at a cost of $53 million. Our short-range needs, last year, for this year, last budget season, we asked for $3 million for short-range facilities needs. We got 50% of that at $1.5 million, and those are still needs that we have. I will say that we've worked with the county, and I think I mentioned this again, we worked through the voice over IP issue, and that work is beginning, and that will be very helpful in making sure that our phone system is up to par, and from a safety standpoint, we're replacing that way outdated phone system. So we're excited about that, and then we're also working on the Terrell Lane parking lot, which the county had allocated funding up to $400,000 this year to support that. We've actually, or have the bid opening on Friday on that. So our hope is that we'll be able to bring something to our board on Monday night. We'll keep you posted on that as well. And our short term, as I mentioned, that's something that, each year we have a process where there's a team that the principals submit things that they've identified at their school that need to be addressed from a facility standpoint. And they come together as a committee of folks, administrators, and district level leadership come together and identify those short-term requests and pare those down. Right now, those requests were $10 million in short-term. So Dr. Webb's working with that team to pare that down, prioritize that, so that when we have a request for facilities and submit that to our board for approval and submission to the county, we've pared that down. We know that we can do 10 million at one time. That's just not feasible. School safety, here's a list of the things that we have in place. We have a really positive working relationship with our sheriff's office and local law enforcement at all of our municipalities. The SROs are an integral part of the work at our schools. They've done a great job. They've been in place for quite some time, thanks to the county for having commitment on that. We have applied for and continue to receive an SRO safety grant to help support those positions. We work to review discipline data and make sure we're being consistent in the way that we're administering discipline at the school level, and making sure that students that may be creating disruptions, that we have a plan to address that, so instruction isn't lost and students feel safe in their classrooms. We're working on and continue to upgrade doors and locks, our camera systems, access control. We look at, again, disciplinary trends and practices, and have discussions with principals on that, just like we do our data on instruction. We talk about discipline. And then we've also been able, with some of the additional funds that we've received through COVID support, to add some additional mental health supports at our schools. Those funds run out at the end of this school year. We've worked to apply for grants to help offset, and we're going to continue to do that. I will say this, just to be honest, I think we're already, and you all may already be experiencing this too, now that ESSER funding is running out and that funding cliff is September of 2024, more counties are competing for less funds, and it's becoming, grant processors are becoming more and more challenging, and they're not able to give quite as much funding out. So you can see a list of the grants that we've received: SRO, safety equipment, students in crisis, which is mental health support. We've received those for multiple years to the tune of over $2 million. We received word last week that we had applied for community eligibility status, which is an opportunity that is from the USDA that filters, through the state, that allows us to, based on the threshold of students that would qualify, families that qualify for free and reduced lunch, to apply for the community eligibility provision. And our schools meet that provision. We were going to apply for next year. We received word that there was a narrow window where we could go ahead and do that. We did it. And we received word last week that all students in Franklin County will receive breakfast and lunch free of charge beginning February 1st through the remainder of the school year, and we'll be applying in April for those, that opportunity for next year with the goal of locking that in for the next 4 years. Chance to get one. That is, we're really excited about that for students. It's a big win for our families and for Franklin County as a whole. So we're excited about that. Goal 4, actively recruiting, retaining, and supporting high-quality staff. As the largest employer in Franklin County with over 1,000 staff members, we are fortunate to have a great team of employees that are dedicated to meeting the needs of the children that we serve. And here are just a few examples of some of our staff. We really run the gamut. As the largest employer in Franklin County with over 1,000 employees, we have the whole gamut of teachers, instructional assistants, we have technology support, we have coaches, we have child nutrition, custodial, bus drivers, mental health supports and physical health supports with our nurses, and then leadership. So we really have a broad range of folks who help support our students each day. Like many other districts, we have and continue to confront staffing challenges. We're competing for the same pool of folks and in a competitive environment. We work to be proactive and strategic in addressing those challenges. And one challenge, I mentioned this to you multiple times, and I started the minute we got the ESSER funds that allowed us to do longevity bonus 3 years ago, I started saying this is going to run out. One of the things that we've recognized as a significant challenge is that expiration of ESSER funds. I will say this, we spent hours and hours going through our budget, looking at areas that we can scale back, looking at things that we might be able to look at differently so that we can maximize our funds and make sure that we're being very conscientious about the funding that we have in place as we move beyond the ESSER funds. But we have used ESSER funds to help finance several recruitment and retention initiatives. The biggest of which is the local longevity retention bonus that we used ESSER funds for. So there were districts that in the heat of COVID ended up saying, we're going to do $10,000 signing bonus. So we're going to do these big kind of, we recognized, we heard what our employees said, and they said, we are committed to Franklin County, and we would like for Franklin County to recognize that. And we heard what they said on that. We put a longevity bonus structure in place that recognizes all of our employees and their longevity with the system, and that's not just teachers, it's all staff. The bonus was distributed in 21-22. We went ahead and budgeted out through the ESSER funding cycle, not one and done, but let's pace this out, be good stewards and think strategically 21-22, 22-23, and we'll be doing that again with our last round of ESSER funding for that for 23-24. This is a breakdown of what that longevity bonus plan looks like. I will say this, we ran the numbers, and on average, we're looking at our employees getting about $2,500. That's the average annually. And that is in lieu of some of the other things. You know, we have not adjusted the teacher supplement since 17-18 school year. It's been at 8%. This helps offset that. This also helps us offset some of the challenges where districts have lost bus. You know, you've seen things on the news about buses won't be running today in other counties. Bring your children to school. We've been fortunate. We've been able to keep our buses running and keep our school staffed. Here's some of the other things. It's not just about money. We recognize that. We've done stay interviews for employees that are, we can't afford to lose. Instead of just waiting until somebody leaves and then diagnosing what went wrong, we're saying, we value you, tell us what's working and what we can do better. We do climate surveys twice annually. Our principals who are here know that's a conversation. We take a look at those regularly and strategize. Job fairs, student teachers, you can look at that. We're working to honor, recognize staff members, professional development. This is a new initiative that we're really excited about. It's a Greater Own Teacher initiative that we're implementing. And it is being piloted at early college with the goal to extend it beyond early college to our other high schools. And it's based on students that have an interest in teaching and would like to remain in Franklin County and teach. They're paired with, those students at the high school level are paired with a mentor teacher to do monthly meetings, learn more about teaching and the path to becoming a teacher. They, at the early college, enroll in classes that are tailored to meet the prerequisites for them to go to East Carolina through their partnership teach program. And then that program offers internship opportunity. The program that we're working with will offer internship opportunities during summer learning. And then when the students graduate, they will students in good standing will be employed as instructional assistants at our schools, and they'll continue their education in that partnership. And we're able to fund that through using federal funds, so those students finish that college education, work with us as a instructional assistant, finish that degree at ECU, graduate, ready to teach with a commitment to Franklin County to teach beyond that. So that's a new thing that we're implementing. Because we found that the teachers, we appreciate all of our teachers, but those who are committed to being in Franklin County and are from this area are really, do a stellar job, and we're just grateful to have them back and giving back to our community. In terms of funding, you've seen these numbers before. This is a breakdown of our state, federal, and local funds. The federal funds are skewed by the pandemic funding, which ends after this year, and our local funds include a couple of things that it does include our capital outlay. It includes our yellow bus purchases, which are about $500,000, and they're just pass-through funds through the counties for that. So that number has a couple of different things in it. So each spring we develop budget priorities for current expenses and capital outlay in preparation for the upcoming year. And we normally have shared those priorities at our Board of Education meeting in February. ESSER funds, as I mentioned, they've allowed us to maximize use of this funding source to support our work. Those funds are sunsetting in September. Although it is still very early, because there are a lot of moving parts to running a school system, and we're only halfway through this academic year, we have two areas we've identified as funding priorities for next year. And in December, we went ahead in December and had this conversation with our board, and our board unanimously approved these areas of funding priorities so that we can be open and provide you with information and work with the county on those two areas as we move into spring. The first priority is maintaining that longevity bonus for FCS employees. I've already mentioned that process, but the price tag associated with that is about $2.5 million. The other area that we've identified is a conversation we've continued to have, which is our facilities. We need to make sure that we are maintaining our facilities, and we need to work with the county to develop a plan, not just to address our short-term needs, but our long-term needs as well, because we want to make sure that we're in a position where we are taking care of the facilities that we have, and we don't end up in a situation where something that would have cost this, at this point, 2 years from now, it's this, because the issues are compounded. So we want to make sure that we have a plan for working with the county to address those needs in partnership with the county. Engaging our school community. So I've already talked a little bit about this in some ways, highlighted some of the things that make us a great place to be. You know, the question is, when we're competing with other choice opportunities, what makes Franklin County Schools the best choice for families? We, as I've said, we meet the academics, behavioral, and social development needs of every child who comes through our doors. charter schools have a lottery system by comparison. Our academic programs are extensive. They have CTE certifications, apprenticeships, advanced placement, college courses. Due to size of charters and some other educational opportunities, it's difficult for them to provide those same level of opportunity. Again, the arts, athletics, and band, similar. One thing that I think is interesting, and I'll just mention, and I don't think that this is common knowledge, but I think it's important to recognize that all of our teachers are licensed to teach in North Carolina. Only 50% by state statute, only 50% of charter school teachers must be licensed, and they don't have to teach in the area that they're licensed. And only teachers of math, science, social studies, and language arts must hold a college degree to teach in a charter school. So I don't know that everyone knows that. That's not common knowledge. And then we also provide transportation and meals to our families. And again, February 1st, effective February 1st, free breakfast and lunch for all of our families. Here are some quotes. I'm not going to read these from some of our parents. Here are some of the ways that we market the district, and we really rely. Mr. McIntosh does a lot. Our communications director does a lot of work with promoting our school system and recognizing some of the work that's taking place. Here are a few examples of our marketing plan and our website, which is a real go-to for our families. We really try to approach communication from a family standpoint. We feel like that's a selling point for us as a school community, is making sure that we're very that we over-communicate, that we make sure that families know what's going on, and that we do that in a way where you're not just a number, you're a person who's a part of our school community, and we want you to feel valued. I work to do messages quite a bit by video, and I also do guest editor pieces for Franklin Times, as well as putting things out to our families and our school community. We've done some rebranding of our schools. Our director of communication has. Here's some of our marketing examples for some of the programs that I've talked to you about today. And then we do work to try to connect with families early. So we work with our, we have partnerships with preschools, Head Starts, and child care centers, and we provide readiness packets to families of 4-year-olds. We have a parent advisory council that works to provide us feedback on what we're doing as a district and what we can do better. We, again, target social media, and then we have some things that we offer through our Early Action Childhood Connection. We plan events for families birth through kindergarten, including parent-family workshops, circle time activities, resources, and we connect students with the Dolly Parton Imagination Library. So we really are working to connect with children young. Here's an example of our YouTube channel and some of the family emails that go out. And then one thing I wanted you to see is we have a success framework, which is really operationalizing our strategic plan in a practical way for schools. One of the areas that we've identified is meaningful parent and family engagement as a priority. How do we make sure families are part of the work that we're doing as a school? And that's an area of emphasis for us. And it's part of our goal setting for our schools, and we've seen a lot of positive feedback about the level of family engagement. The events we've had this year have been packed house at our schools, and it's great to see. We have a parent conference that we did a parent summit starting last spring, where we brought teams of parents from each school together, got feedback from them on what's working, that gave them an opportunity to plan together, to network with other schools. Very well received, so we did another one in the fall. We have another one in the spring in a few weeks. We also have an opportunity, and this is one you can be a part of. We'd love to have you if you're interested. It's our Franklin Cares initiative, which is reading to elementary school students. It's a background check and a 2-hour little session or less, probably, than that, to help the folks who come on board and they come to elementary schools. They read with kindergartners and first graders. It's a good opportunity to bring our community in. These are some photos from our parent summit from last spring. And I did want to mention, because you may have heard some things in the news about Parents' Bill of Rights. So we actually, as part of our parent summit this fall, broke down the Parent Bill of Rights as a new piece of legislation that gives parents 12 statutory rights. We broke those down with the parents as a part of the parent summit, and then we, had them help us rewrite our parent involvement policy. We updated all of our policies to make sure that they reflected the Parents' Bill of Rights, opportunities for families on the website. We offered training to all of our staff, and we communicated with parents on that legislation so they understand their rights. And then this is a video. It's very, very short. Questions that you have. I'm glad if you process this and you have questions